Welcome to my channel. Have you ever wondered why some people keep growing, learning, and becoming more confident while others stay stuck in the same place? What if one simple habit, something you can do every single day, could slowly change the way you think, speak, and see the world? Today, we are going to discover the hidden power of reading every day and why just a few minutes with a book can create a better version of yourself. Stay with me until the end, because you will learn simple reading habits that can completely change your life. Chapter 1. Why reading every day is more powerful than you think. Hello and welcome back, everyone. Let me ask you something important. Have you ever looked at your day and wondered where all your time went? You wake up, you complete your work, you check your phone, you watch some videos, you scroll through different posts, and suddenly the whole day is over. But at the end of the day, you feel like you did not really learn anything new. You were busy, but you were not growing. You were active, but you were not moving forward. If you have ever felt this way, you are not alone. Millions of people experience the same thing every day. They want to improve themselves. They want to become smarter. They want to speak better. They want to feel more confident. They want to build a better future. But many people are waiting for the perfect time to start. They think they need more free time. They think they need more motivation. They think they need a big, life-changing moment. But the truth is, real change usually does not happen from one big decision. Real change happens from small actions repeated again and again. And one of the most powerful small actions you can take every day is reading. Reading may look like a simple activity. It may look quiet and ordinary. But behind those pages, something powerful is happening. Every time you read, you are training your brain. You are improving the way you think. You are learning new ideas. You are building a stronger mind. Many people underestimate reading because they think it is just about finishing books. But reading is not only about completing pages. It is about changing yourself slowly over time. Think about your brain like a muscle. When you exercise your body, your muscles become stronger. When you train your mind through reading, your thinking ability becomes stronger. Every new word you learn, every new idea you understand, and every story you follow adds something valuable inside your mind. But today, we live in a world where attention is becoming harder and harder to protect. Everywhere we look, there is something trying to take our attention. Your phone sends notifications. A new video appears. Another interesting post comes in front of you. One short video becomes another, and before you know it, 1 hour has disappeared. The problem is not that entertainment is bad. Entertainment can be enjoyable. The problem is when we spend most of our time consuming things that do not help us grow. When you only scroll, your brain receives information quickly, but it does not always process it deeply. You see something for a few seconds, then you move to something else. Another image, another video, another piece of information. Your brain becomes used to jumping from one thing to another. Reading works differently. When you read, you slow down. You focus on one idea. You follow one story. You connect information together. Your brain becomes active. It starts creating pictures, asking questions, and understanding deeper meanings. Reading is not just looking at words. Reading is thinking. Reading is learning. Reading is building your mind. And the best thing about reading is that you do not need to spend hours every day to see benefits. Many people believe they cannot become readers because they do not have enough time. They imagine someone sitting for 3 hours with a book every day. But that is not necessary. You can start with just 5 or 10 minutes. That small amount of time may not look impressive, but small actions become powerful when they are repeated. 5 minutes today becomes 5 minutes tomorrow. Then 1 week passes. Then 1 month passes. Slowly, you become someone who reads every day. A few pages every day can become many books over a year. A few minutes every day can create a completely different mindset. This is the secret many people miss. The people who improve themselves are not always doing huge things. They are often doing small things consistently. They read a little. They learn a little. They improve a little. And those little improvements create a big difference over time. Reading also changes the way you communicate. When you read more, you naturally learn better words and better ways to express your thoughts. You become better at explaining your ideas. You understand conversations more easily. For English learners, reading is one of the best ways to improve because you see how sentences are created. You learn vocabulary naturally. You understand how people use words in real situations. You do not just memorize rules, you experience the language. Another powerful benefit of reading is that it opens your mind. Every book is like a new world. You learn about different people, different experiences, different cultures, and different ways of thinking. You start understanding that the world is bigger than your own experience. You become more curious. You become more thoughtful. You begin to see things from different perspectives. And that changes the way you see life. But remember something important. Reading does not change your life in one night. It is not magic. You will not read one chapter and suddenly become a completely different person. The power of reading comes from consistency. It comes from showing up every day. It comes from opening the book even when you do not feel motivated. It comes from making a small promise to yourself and keeping it. The person who reads one page every day is building something. They are building knowledge. They are building discipline. They are building a stronger version of themselves. So if you have never been a reader before, do not worry. You do not need to start perfectly. You just need to start. Pick a book, read a few pages, give your mind the chance to grow. Because sometimes the smallest habit creates the biggest transformation. And in the next chapter, we will talk about the personal journey of starting this habit and how a simple decision to read every day can slowly change the way you think, feel, and live. Chapter 2: My Life Before I Started Reading. Every day. Let me share something personal with you. Before I started reading every day, my life looked very different. From the outside, everything seemed normal. I was doing my daily tasks, I was working, I was spending time with people, I was completing my responsibilities. But inside, I felt like something was missing. I felt like I was spending my days, but I was not really improving myself. Have you ever had this feeling? Have you ever reached the end of the day and thought, where did my time go? I was busy all day, but what did I actually achieve? This was exactly how I felt. I had time, but I was not using it in a way that helped me grow. Whenever I had free time, I would usually pick up my phone. I would tell myself, I will just check for a few minutes. But those few minutes would slowly become much longer. I would watch random videos. I would scroll through different posts. I would look at things that were interesting for a moment, but after some time, I could not even remember what I had watched. The strange thing was that I was always consuming information, but I was not building knowledge. My mind was full, but I was not growing. After spending hours on my phone, I did not feel refreshed. I did not feel inspired. I felt empty. It was like I had given my attention away without getting anything valuable in return. I started noticing another problem too. My focus was becoming weaker. I could not sit with one thing for a long time. Even when I wanted to learn something new, my mind wanted quick entertainment. I wanted everything faster. I wanted short videos, short information, short answers. Anything that required patience started feeling difficult. A long article felt boring. A long lesson felt tiring. A book felt impossible. And slowly, I realized something important. My attention was becoming trained for distraction. The more time I spent jumping from one thing to another, the harder it became to stay focused on one important thing. This was not because I was lazy. It was because I had created a habit without realizing it. My brain had become comfortable with quick rewards. Every notification, every new video, every new piece of content gave my brain a small moment of excitement. But that excitement disappeared quickly. And then I needed something new again. It became a cycle of searching, watching, and moving on. But deep inside, I wanted something different. I wanted to feel like I was becoming better. I wanted to learn new things. I wanted to improve my English. I wanted to have better conversations. I wanted to feel proud of how I was using my time. I wanted a habit that gave something back to me. That was when reading came into my life. At first, I was not excited about it. To be honest, I had many doubts. I thought reading was difficult. I thought I was too busy. I thought I did not have enough patience. I told myself many excuses. I said, I will start when I have more time. I said, I will start when my life becomes less busy. But I slowly understood something. If I kept waiting for the perfect time, I would keep waiting forever. There is almost never a perfect time to build a good habit. You have to create the time. You have to make a small decision and start. So one day I decided to try. I did not make a huge promise. I did not say I will read 5 books this month. I did not create a difficult plan. I simply picked up a book and read a few pages. That was it. And you know what happened? Nothing dramatic happened. There was no magical moment. My life did not completely change in one night, but something small happened inside me. I felt calmer. I felt more focused. I felt like I had done something good for myself. Those few pages gave me a feeling that endless scrolling never gave me. It gave me a feeling of progress. It gave me a small feeling of achievement, and that small feeling made me curious. I started wondering, what would happen if I did this every day? What would happen if I spent a few minutes learning instead of only consuming entertainment? That question changed everything. Because sometimes a big transformation starts with a small question. What if I try? What if I improve? What if I give myself a chance? I learned that reading was not about becoming a different person overnight. It was about becoming slightly better every day. One page, one idea, one lesson at a time. The more I read, the more I noticed changes. I started thinking more deeply. I started understanding things better. I started finding new words to express my thoughts. I felt more confident because I was learning. And the most surprising thing was that reading started feeling less like a task and more like a peaceful part of my day. It became a moment where I could slow down and focus. A moment where I was not comparing myself to others. A moment where I was investing in myself. Looking back, I realized the biggest change was not just the books I read. The biggest change was the person I was becoming because of that habit. Reading taught me that small actions matter. A few minutes every day can create a big difference over time. And this is something anyone can do. You do not need to be a genius. You do not need to read difficult books. You do not need to change your whole life in one day. You only need to start small and stay consistent. Because the person you become tomorrow is created by the small choices you make today. And in the next chapter, we will talk about how to build this habit step by step, especially if you are a beginner who thinks reading is difficult or impossible. Chapter 3: How to build a daily reading habit as a beginner. Now that we understand why reading is powerful and how it can change your life, the next question is very important. How can you actually build this habit and make reading a part of your daily life? Many people like the idea of reading every day, but they struggle to start. They buy books, they make plans, they feel motivated for a few days. But after some time, they stop. The reason is not because they cannot read. The reason is because they start in the wrong way. They make reading harder than it needs to be. They create a plan that is too difficult, and when they cannot follow it perfectly, they feel disappointed. So today, we are going to talk about the simple way to build a reading habit, especially if you are a beginner. The first thing you need to understand is this: do not start too big. Many people make the mistake of saying, "From tomorrow, I will read for 1 hour every single day." It sounds like a great goal. It sounds impressive. But for many beginners, it is not realistic. If you are not used to reading, 1 hour can feel like a huge challenge. After a few days, you may feel tired or busy, and then you skip one day. After skipping one day, you skip another day. Slowly, the habit disappears. This is why starting small is so powerful. Instead of 1 hour, start with 5 minutes. Yes, just 5 minutes. It may sound too easy, but that is the point. A good habit should feel easy enough that you can repeat it. When you repeat something every day, your brain starts accepting it as a normal part of your life. 5 minutes of reading every day is better than 1 hour of reading once a month. Because the goal in the beginning is not to read a lot. The goal is to become someone who reads. You are building an identity. You are telling yourself, I am a person who learns every day. Another important step is choosing the right time to read. Many people wait until they have free time, but free time often disappears. There will always be something to do. There will always be messages, responsibilities, and distractions. Instead of waiting for time, create a reading moment. Find a time that works naturally for you. Some people like reading in the morning because their mind is fresh. They read a few pages before starting their busy day. Other people prefer reading at night because it helps them relax before sleeping. Some people read during a break at work or school. There is no perfect time. The best time is the time you can follow consistently. Another powerful trick is choosing a specific place for reading. Your brain connects places with activities. For example, when you go to your bed, your brain knows it is time to sleep. When you sit at a dining table, your brain knows it is time to eat. In the same way, creating a reading place can train your mind. It does not need to be a special room. It can be a chair in your home, a small corner, a place near a window. The important thing is creating a connection between that place and your reading habit. Also, choose books that actually interest you. This is something many beginners ignore. They choose books because they think they should read them. Maybe the book is famous. Maybe everyone talks about it. But if you are not interested, reading will feel like homework. The best book to start with is a book that makes you curious. If you like stories, start with simple stories. If you like learning, choose educational books. If you want to improve English, choose beginner-friendly English books. The goal is to enjoy the process. When you enjoy reading, it becomes easier to continue. Another important thing is removing distractions while reading. We live in a world where our attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Your phone can easily take you away from your book. You open your phone for 1 minute, and suddenly 30 minutes have passed. So, when you read, create a small space where your mind can focus. Put your phone away. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Give yourself a few quiet minutes. You will be surprised how much you can learn when your attention is fully present. But remember, some days will be difficult. Some days you will feel tired. Some days you will not want to read. This is normal. Every person who builds a strong habit faces these moments. The secret is not waiting for motivation. The secret is keeping the promise you made to yourself. On difficult days, make the goal smaller. Tell yourself, I will just read one paragraph. Many times, starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, you may continue longer than you expected. And even if you only read one paragraph, you still kept the habit alive. That small action matters. There is another powerful method called connecting habits. This means adding reading to something you already do every day. For example, after drinking your morning tea, read for 5 minutes. After dinner, read a few pages. Before sleeping, open your book instead of your phone. When you connect reading with an existing habit, it becomes easier to remember. Slowly, reading becomes automatic. It becomes something you naturally do without forcing yourself. Also, do not compare your reading journey with others. Some people read many books every month. Some people read slowly. Some people have more free time. Everyone has a different situation. Your goal is not to compete with someone else. Your goal is to become better than you were yesterday. Even one page today is progress. Even one new word learned today is progress. Small improvements create big changes over time. Building a reading habit is not about perfection. It is about consistency. You do not need a perfect schedule. You do not need expensive books. You do not need to be a naturally talented reader. You only need to start and keep going. Because every great reader was once a beginner. Every person who loves books once opened their first page. And your journey can begin with one simple decision today. Read a little, learn a little, grow a little. Because the small habit you build today can create a stronger, smarter, and more confident version of yourself in the future. Chapter 4. How reading improves your focus, memory, and learning ability. Have you ever started doing something important, but after a few minutes, you found yourself checking your phone, thinking about something else, or losing interest? You are not alone. This is one of the biggest problems people face in today's world. We live in a time where our attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Every day there are notifications, messages, videos, advertisements, and endless information fighting for our attention. Because of this, many people are finding it harder to focus on one thing for a long time. They start a task, but their mind quickly moves somewhere else. They begin reading something, but after a few minutes, they want to check something different. They start learning a new skill, but they lose patience because they are used to quick results. This is becoming normal for many people, but it does not mean we cannot improve it. The good news is that there is a simple habit that can train your brain to focus better, and that habit is reading. Reading is not just a way to collect information. It is a way to train your mind. When you sit down with a book, your brain has to slow down and pay attention. You cannot understand a story or an idea if your mind is somewhere else. You have to follow the words. You have to connect sentences. You have to remember what you read before. This simple process is like a workout for your brain. Every time you read, you are practicing concentration. Every time you continue reading, even when your mind wants to stop, you are becoming stronger mentally. Think about it like physical exercise. Nobody becomes strong after one day of exercise. Strength comes from repeating the action again and again. The same thing happens with focus. The more you practice focusing through reading, the easier it becomes. Slowly, you start noticing that you can stay with one task longer. You can listen better. You can think more clearly. You can finish things without getting distracted so easily. This is one of the hidden powers of daily reading. It improves your ability to give your full attention. Another amazing benefit of reading is that it improves your memory. Many people think they have a bad memory, but sometimes the problem is not memory. The problem is that they are not giving their brain enough practice. When you read, your brain is constantly working. You remember characters, ideas, information, and connections between different topics. You are training your brain to store and organize information. For example, when you read a story, you remember what happened at the beginning, what happened in the middle, and how everything connects at the end. When you read an educational book, you remember new concepts and ideas. This process strengthens your ability to learn. Reading also helps you understand information more deeply. In today's world, many people only consume information quickly. They see a headline, they watch a short video, they hear a few sentences, then they move on. But deep understanding requires time. Reading allows you to slow down and think. It gives your brain the space to understand the meaning behind the information. This deeper learning helps you make better decisions because you are not just collecting facts. You are building understanding. For English learners, reading is one of the most powerful tools for improvement. When you read simple English books, stories, or articles, you naturally see how sentences are created. You learn new vocabulary and context. You understand how words are used in real situations. Many beginners try to memorize hundreds of words, but they forget them because they do not see how those words work. Reading changes this. When you see words inside stories and sentences, your brain remembers them more naturally. You start recognizing patterns. You start understanding English without translating every single word in your mind. Slowly, your confidence grows. Reading also improves your imagination and creativity. When you watch something, the images are already created for you. But when you read, your brain creates the pictures. You imagine places, people, situations, and emotions. This activates different parts of your mind. It helps you think in new ways. Creative people often become creative because they expose their minds to many ideas. Reading gives your brain new material to work with. Every book adds new thoughts, new experiences, and new possibilities. Another important benefit of reading is that it helps you become calmer. In a world full of noise, reading creates a quiet moment. It gives you a chance to slow down. It allows your mind to focus on one thing instead of jumping between many things. Many people feel mentally tired because their brain is always processing too much information. Reading gives the mind a peaceful space. It is a simple activity, but it can create a feeling of balance. Think about how focus affects every part of your life. When you can focus better, you can study better. You can complete your work faster. You can have better conversations because you are truly listening. You can solve problems more effectively because your mind is clear. Focus is not just a learning skill, it is a life skill. And reading is one of the easiest ways to practice it every day. The beautiful thing is that you do not need special equipment. You do not need a perfect environment. You do not need to be an expert reader. You just need a few minutes and the willingness to practice. Start small. Read a few pages. Give your brain time to adjust. At first, it may feel difficult. Your mind may want to escape. You may feel like checking your phone. But every time you choose to continue reading, you are teaching your brain something important. You are teaching it patience. You are teaching it focus. You are teaching it discipline. And over time, those small moments create a big transformation. The person who reads every day is not only gaining knowledge, they are building a stronger mind. They are becoming better at learning, better at thinking, and better at handling the challenges of life. And in the next chapter, we will discover another powerful change that reading creates. How reading can build confidence and completely change the way you see yourself. Chapter 5. How reading builds confidence and changes the way you think. Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to speak, but you stopped yourself because you were not sure about your words? Have you ever had an idea in your mind, but you stayed quiet because you thought maybe your idea was not good enough? Many people experience this feeling. They want to express themselves. They want to share their thoughts. They want to be confident. But somewhere inside, they feel unsure. They feel like they do not know enough. They feel like other people are smarter or more prepared. This feeling is called self-doubt, and it can stop people from showing their true abilities. But one simple habit can slowly change this feeling. That habit is reading. Reading may seem like something that only gives knowledge, but it gives something much deeper. It builds confidence. It changes the way you think. It helps you understand yourself and the world around you better. Confidence does not always come from being the loudest person in the room. Real confidence comes from feeling prepared. It comes from knowing that you have something valuable to share. And reading helps you build that foundation. When you read regularly, you are constantly adding new information to your mind. You learn new ideas. You discover different opinions. You understand how things work. Slowly, you start feeling more comfortable in different situations because you have more knowledge inside you. Think about a simple conversation. Someone starts talking about a topic you have read about. Before, you may have stayed silent because you did not know what to say. But now, because you learned something new, you can join the conversation. You can share your thoughts. You can ask better questions. That small moment creates confidence. It shows you that your knowledge matters. It shows you that your voice has value. This is how confidence grows. It does not appear suddenly. It grows through small experiences. Reading gives you more experiences inside your mind. Every book you read gives you new thoughts to carry with you. Every story teaches you something about people, emotions, challenges, and life. Every lesson you learn makes you a little more prepared for the future. Another powerful way reading builds confidence is by improving the way you communicate. Many people struggle to explain their ideas clearly. They know what they want to say, but they cannot find the right words. This can make them feel frustrated. Reading helps solve this problem. When you read, you see how sentences are created. You learn how people explain ideas. You discover new words and better ways to express yourself. Over time, your own communication improves naturally. For English learners, this is especially important. Many beginners feel nervous when speaking English because they are afraid of making mistakes. They worry that people will judge them. But reading simple English every day can slowly remove that fear. You start recognizing sentence patterns. You become familiar with common expressions. You understand how English sounds in real situations. The more you see and practice, the more comfortable you become. Confidence grows because you are no longer starting from zero. You have built a foundation. Reading also changes the way you think. When you read different books, you enter different worlds. You learn about people who have different experiences, different cultures, and different ways of seeing life. This teaches you that there is more than one way to think. You become more open-minded. You become better at understanding others. This is an important part of confidence because confident people are not people who think they know everything. Confident people are people who are willing to learn. They are comfortable saying, "I do not know yet, but I can learn." Reading creates this mindset. It teaches curiosity instead of fear. It teaches growth instead of limitation. Another amazing thing about reading is that it helps you become more creative. When you read stories, your imagination becomes active. You imagine characters, places, and situations. You begin seeing possibilities that you did not notice before. Creative thinking helps you solve problems. It helps you find new solutions. It helps you approach life with a stronger mindset. And when you know you can handle problems, your confidence increases. I have noticed that many people think confidence comes from success. They believe they will become confident after they achieve something big. But many times, it works the other way around. Confidence helps you take action. And reading can be the first step that builds that confidence. When you learn more, you feel more prepared. When you feel prepared, you are more willing to try. When you try, you create new experiences. Those experiences build even more confidence. It becomes a positive cycle. Reading also teaches patience, and patience is connected to confidence. In life, not everything happens quickly. Learning a language takes time. Building a career takes time. Improving yourself takes time. When you read every day, you learn to trust the process. You understand that progress happens slowly. You stop looking for instant results. You become comfortable with growth. This mindset helps you face challenges with more confidence. The most beautiful thing about reading is that it changes you quietly. Nobody may notice the first few pages you read. Nobody may see the small improvements happening inside your mind. But over time, those small changes become visible. You start speaking with more confidence. You start thinking more clearly. You start making better decisions. You start believing in yourself more. And one day, you look back and realize that the person you became was created through those small daily moments. So if you ever feel like you are not confident enough, do not only focus on changing the outside. Start building yourself from the inside. Read, learn, grow. Give your mind the knowledge and experience it needs. Because confidence is not something only a few people are born with. Confidence is something you can build, and every page you read is another step toward becoming a stronger, smarter, and more confident version of yourself. In the next chapter, we will talk about what happens when you continue this habit for a long time and how 1 year of daily reading can completely transform your life. Chapter 6. What happens after 1 year of reading every day? Now imagine something for a moment. Imagine you made one simple decision today. You decided to read every single day. Not for hours, not with a difficult plan, just a few minutes every day. Maybe 10 minutes in the morning, maybe a few pages before sleeping, maybe reading during a quiet moment in your day. At first, it may not feel like a big change. You may not notice anything different after one day. You may not feel smarter after 1 week. You may not see a huge transformation after 1 month. But something powerful is happening slowly inside you. Every page you read is creating a small improvement. Every new idea is adding something to your mind. Every day you continue, you are building a better version of yourself. This is the hidden power of consistency. Big changes in life usually do not come from one amazing moment. They come from small actions repeated over a long period of time. A person who reads every day for 1 year is not the same person they were before. They have grown in ways they may not even notice. Their mind has changed. Their thinking has changed. Their confidence has changed. Their understanding of the world has changed. The first big change you will notice is your focus. In the beginning, sitting with a book may feel difficult. Your mind may want to move somewhere else. You may feel the need to check your phone. You may feel uncomfortable with silence. But after months of practice, your brain becomes stronger. You become better at staying focused. You can spend more time on important tasks without getting distracted easily. This improvement does not only help with reading, it helps in every area of life. You can study better. You can work better. You can listen better. You can complete tasks with more attention. Your ability to focus becomes one of your greatest strengths. Another amazing change is the growth of your knowledge. Think about all the information you collect in 1 year of reading. Every book gives you new ideas. Every chapter teaches you something. Every story introduces you to new experiences. Slowly, your mind becomes filled with knowledge. You start seeing connections between different things. You understand topics more deeply. You become someone who is always learning. And learning is one of the most valuable habits a person can have. The world is always changing. New skills are needed. New challenges appear. A person who continues learning can adapt better. Reading keeps your mind active and ready for growth. After 1 year of daily reading, your communication can also improve. You may notice that you have more things to say in conversations. You can explain your thoughts more clearly. You can understand other people better. You can express your feelings with better words. This is especially powerful for English learners. When you read English regularly, your brain becomes familiar with the language. You start recognizing common phrases. You learn vocabulary naturally. You understand sentence structures. Slowly, speaking becomes easier because your mind has more examples to use. You are not only learning English, you are building confidence in using English. Another important transformation is the way you think. Reading teaches you to slow down and think deeply. It helps you look at problems from different angles. Instead of reacting quickly, you start thinking carefully. Instead of accepting every idea immediately, you learn to question and understand. This creates a stronger mindset. You become more thoughtful in your decisions. You become more aware of your actions. You become more patient with yourself and others. Reading also changes the way you see yourself. At the beginning, you may think, I am not a reader. You may believe books are not for you. But after 1 year, you can look back and say, I became someone who keeps learning. That change in identity is powerful. You are no longer someone who only wishes to improve. You are someone who takes action every day. You prove to yourself that you can create positive change. And when you trust yourself, your confidence grows. Many people are waiting for a perfect moment to improve their lives. They are waiting for more time. They are waiting for more motivation. They are waiting until everything becomes easier. But the truth is, the perfect moment usually does not come. Growth begins when you decide to start with what you have. You do not need a perfect environment. You do not need a perfect schedule. You only need a small commitment. Reading for a few minutes every day may look simple, but simple actions repeated consistently create powerful results. Think about a tree. A tree does not grow tall in one day. It grows slowly. Every day, it takes in what it needs. Every day, it becomes stronger. Reading is the same. Every page is like a small drop of knowledge. Every day adds another drop. Over time, those drops create something much bigger. They create wisdom. They create understanding. They create personal growth. After 1 year, you will not only have read many pages, you will have built discipline. You will have built patience. You will have built a stronger relationship with learning. You will have created a habit that can continue for the rest of your life. And the best part is that anyone can do it. You do not need to be naturally intelligent. You do not need to be a fast reader. You do not need to know everything before you start. Every great reader started as a beginner. Every knowledgeable person started by learning one small thing. The difference is that they continued. They showed up again and again. They trusted the process. So if you are watching this and thinking about starting, do not wait. Start today. Open a book. Read one page. Learn one new idea. Give yourself the chance to grow. Because 1 year from now, you can either be the same person wishing you had started, or you can be someone who is thankful that you took the first step. Your future is created by the small actions you choose today. Reading is a small action, but its power is much bigger than you think. Keep learning, keep growing, keep improving. Because every page you read is another step toward the person you want to become.